So, students, let us continue with the urban ecosystem course. Today, we'll be discussing the ecosystem basics. So, today we are planning to cover ecosystem, what is ecology, levels of ecological organizations, scope and importance of ecology. We would also like to see ecology and the linkage with the ecosystem, structural and functional unit of ecosystem, and lastly, we would like to cover today the system states of ecosystem. So, ecosystem, as we have already discussed in our last class, introductory class, so we understand that an ecosystem has integrated structural units of biotic and abiotic components, and they interact with each other so that a single functional unit can be created, and that is a system. And you can see again the same image which we had discussed in last class, that we can see there can be a forest ecosystem within which there can be certain water bodies, and how different biotic and abiotic components like sunlight, soil, water, they are there, and the biotic are the trees, the deer, the insects, the protozoa. So in every scale they are there. Today we will start with understanding how ecosystem and ecology are linked. So let us first understand what is ecology. Ecology is a branch of biology dedicated to study the interaction and interrelationship of biotic communities and abiotic factors in relation to the physical space. So it includes the study of individual organism, population, community, ecosystem, and biosphere. And if you have noticed them, you could easily understand there is a level of organization in this ecology. Individual, a single species, population, the same species, numbers are there, community, different type of species together within a community. Ecosystem is actually not only those biotic but also abiotic. And biosphere is taking care of the entire composition of many such ecosystems. So, if we try to go into the details of levels of ecological organizations, we can start with individual organism, a single living being of a species. It can be a fish, like shown in the image. It can be a tiger, an oak tree, one butterfly. Population, as I mentioned earlier, a group of individuals of the same species living in the same area at the same time. You can see here the population, that so many same species of fish is there. It can be all tigers of any national park like Ranthambore. Now we come for the community. Different populations of species living and interacting in the same area. You just see the community here, and we can give example of tigers, deer, trees, grasses, microbes in a forest. So next thing, obviously, we'll be discussing the ecosystem in the next level of organization. The community plus the non-living environment like soil, water, climate, nutrients, I mentioned sunlight also, functioning together as a system. A forest ecosystem, a pond ecosystem, like here it is a marine ecosystem. So these are the good examples to understand this level of organization. And the largest level of organization is the biosphere, the highest level, including all ecosystems on Earth. It is the global sun of life and its interactions with the atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. The example is planet Earth itself, or we can also bring an example like the ocean with the forest. They are creating a biosphere. So, students, is it okay to understand the different levels of ecological organization? Again, we can remember the lowest level is the individual, then the population, then bringing different species in community level. In the ecosystem level, we also bring the abiotic components and the biosphere level, where it's the largest level of the organization. Now we would like to understand the scope. Why and what does this ecology study cover? So, if we can understand the scope of ecology, it will help us to understand that how best we can make use of this ecology study. First scope of ecology we have to mention, that is the distribution and abundance of organisms, who lives where and why. So this abundance is very much important. Even for the fishing, we know that the fisherman always is interested with that information on the abundance. Interactions among organisms, it can happen in many ways. Competition, predation, symbiosis, mutualisms are some of the way. Interactions between organisms and the environment. Abiotic and biotic linkage, which I am discussing from the beginning. Next, scope of ecology is to discuss the flow of energy from one ecosystem to the other through food chains and food webs. Cycling of nutrients like carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, water, they are important scope of ecology. Processes like succession, adaptation, and evolution in ecosystem is another area. Ecosystem structure, functions, and resilience. And the last but not the least in today's time is the human influence on ecosystem. Whether it is pollution, deforestation, climate change, it has to be taken care within the study of ecology. Next thing today we are going to discuss, that is importance of ecology, significance of this particular study area, ecology, and in which areas we can apply them. Importance of ecology, it actually helps in protecting biodiversity and ecosystem. So in environmental conservation, the understanding of ecology guides agriculture, forestry, and fisheries in sustainable resource management. It explains ecosystem roles in floods, droughts, and climate adaptation for disaster risk reduction. Pollination, soil fertility, water purification, climate regulation are the ecosystem services. Links between environment, disease spread, and well being of human health is another aspect, that why we should understand ecology. And very recent corona has made us understood this particular vertical very clearly. Ecological knowledge informs urban planning, climate policies, and conservation laws. So policy and planning gets influenced and benefits of this ecology. Ecology helps in designing nature-based solution and climate resilience strategies. So ensures our sustainable future. So, if we would like to see ecology and ecosystem in the same frame, I think it is best to understand this hierarchy once again: individual, level of organization, to population, to community, to ecosystem, to biosphere. So, once we have understood that, let us also try to summarize this understanding from the perspective of definition of these two terminology and correspondence importance. So, ecology is the broad study of the relationships between ecosystem organisms and their surrounding environments. What ecosystem is doing? The focused, a particular biological communities in an area along with physical and chemical environment that includes non-living or abiotic factors. Corresponding to the study of all ecosystem in a vast area is the scope for ecology, whereas the ecosystem is a subset of ecology that focuses on a particular environment and its system. So I think now it is very clear that ecology and ecosystem both are very important levels of study and are done for different purposes. So now I will come for the second part of today's lecture, where we would like to understand structural and functional unit of ecosystem. Before I go into the details of this, I would like to tell you that why we go for this understanding of units. Because ecosystem not only is a vast subject, vast subject area to understand. It's also a complicated one, complex one. So we try to understand them by units so that we do understand their significance, their interrelation, and it helps us to understand ecosystem slowly but solidly. So first I will be telling you about the two different units, what they mean, so that we do understand their broad concepts, and then we will discuss them one by one. First is the structural unit of an ecosystem, which consists of both biotic, that is the living one, and the abiotic, the non-living components that interact with each other. That is very important. They have to interact. They will have some linkage. Then only they become significant to have a certain system. The second part is the functional unit of an ecosystem, which involves the processes and interactions between these biotic and the abiotic components. So, both of them are actually having the other term very much integrated into it. So, we have to understand that part. So, I have brought two different images for you. First, let me explain the graphical image which is in front of us already. That is, sun is there. Sun is the major source of energy on earth. Whatever energy we can find on earth, that comes from the sun, solar energy. What happens? Plants are having that particular role. Through photosynthesis, it captures that solar energy, it transfers it into the chemical energy, and also then the biomass, creating the glucose. Then these plants are now getting utilized in the biotic components levels by the herbivores and the carnivores later through consumption. So, if the plants are the producer, then the herbivores are the first level of consumer, then the second level of consumer are the carnivores. And what we see, the soil and atmosphere is always present there to help the plants, to help the herbivores, carnivores, as well as the plants. Soil is providing nutrients and water, and we will also find later on that for these detritivores also it is providing the habitat. Atmosphere, we see the presence of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water vapor, that is always there, and plants take advantage of this carbon dioxide. CO2 gets sequestered, and we get oxygen out of the plants. And there is the detritivores. When the herbivores and carnivores and the plants, they die, then the decomposition happens. So this is the relationship within an ecosystem. In a very simplistic fashion we can explain it, and we can also go for more interesting graphical form. You can see the tree here, the producer. We were discussing the sun, the providing the energy, the primary source, and then we can see the primary consumer who are eating the grasses or leaves. Then the secondary consumer, we will also see other levels of consumers later on. We can see the exchange of O2 and CO2 is happening continuously. When we are taking breaths, we are also providing through respiration CO2 to the atmosphere. But we also see the decomposers here, but we have to take notice of the abiotic components as well, the soil, the water, the atmosphere, because they are equally important in this particular discussion of ecosystem. So once we have understood this particular basic definition of structural unit and functional unit, it is very easy for us to go forward. Structural unit of ecosystem, let us first discuss with that. We are starting with the biotic components, the living components that include all living organisms within the ecosystem, which can be further categorized into the categories of producers, consumers, and decomposers. And producers that produce their own food through photosynthesis, also known as autotrophs, that is plants and algae. Consumers that depend on the producers and other consumers for food, also known as heterotrophs. Example given, animals, humans. Decomposers, organisms that break down dead organic matter, returning nutrients to the soil. Example given, bacteria and fungi. Abiotic components, all non-living physical and chemical factors that influence the living organisms. Examples are water, air, soil, temperature, sunlight. Water is the essential element for all of us, all living. Air provides O2, CO2, necessity for respiration and photosynthesis. Soil contains nutrients and minerals. Temperature affects these metabolic rates of organisms. Sunlight is the primary source for energy. Not only for photosynthesis, we will see throughout the process, sun is the main energy, primary energy source. So, if we try to understand the structural units together, we are bringing those information which we have discussed together. So, the structural units are biotic components and the abiotic components. Abiotic components, climatic factors and edaphic factors. Edaphic, anything related to the soil. So it's soil, the pH, the minerals, the topography. For the climate factors, rain, light, wind, temperature, we have discussed them a bit. And under the biotic, producers, consumers and decomposers. Autotrophs, heterotrophs and the saprotrophs. Now let us go for the details of the consumers which we are introducing this first time. Primary consumer, secondary consumer we have discussed, then the tertiary consumers and quaternary consumers. And I will give you good examples of them when we come for our next slides. Now, from the structural unit, let us move to the functional unit where we discussed that okay, this includes the processes and interactions between these biotic and abiotic components. We will be discussing the trophic level, food chain and food web, nutrient cycle, and ecological succession. These are the most important four we chose to discuss. First one is the functional unit of ecosystem. Under that we are discussing the trophic levels, and here only I would like to show, come back to that which I was discussing a slide back. Producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer and quaternary consumers. So you can see levels, and trophic levels is exactly telling us about that, the energy flow through the food chain from producers to the consumers and to the decomposer at the end. So this energy flow is actually represented at different levels by the trophic levels. Energy enters the ecosystem through sunlight, is converted into chemical energy by producers and is then passed through different trophic levels. One very important thing we need to really take note of, that is the more we go on the higher strata in this particular pyramid, biomass gets decreased. But at the same time, we have to also see whenever the trophic level changes from one to the other, only 10% gets flowed in the next level. Rest 90% either gets consumed or something will not be utilized. So that we will discuss later, but only 10%. How we utilize it at each and every level, it will be our different activities, respiration, metabolic activities, etc. consumes that 90%, and something is also get uh, out of the system. So next thing is the food chain and food web, depicts the feeding relationship, who eats whom, and the energy flow within an ecosystem. A food chain is a linear sequence, while a food web is a complex network of interconnected food chain. First, let me introduce this food chain, which is a simpler one: producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, the birds are eating them, and this snakes are eating these birds, the owl is waiting for the snake. Now, when owl will die, then the decomposers are waiting, then it gets humus rich in the nutrients, and that comes and helps the producer. This is a simple chain. Let's say lion, who is apex predator. What lion can do? Lion can eat a deer. Deer is actually getting fed on the grass. So that's a one food chain. But the lion can go for a jackal also. But the jackal can eat some other animal. That animal can be eating some grass. So that's another food chain. So when these food chains are getting interlinked, they create a web. So we will be now discussing the other two functional units of ecosystem: nutrient cycling and ecological succession. Nutrient cycling, the recycling of nutrients like carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus through the ecosystem. Decomposers play a crucial role in breaking down dead materials and returning nutrients to the soil for use by producers. We have already seen that when we were looking at the total ecosystem chain about this nutrient cycling. The last point which we would like to discuss, that is the ecological succession. This particular concept is a very strong concept, and we will see that in this ecosystem study again and again this concept will come back. This is a process, ecosystem process, by which the structure of a biological community evolves over time. It involves the gradual change in the species composition, structure, and function of an ecosystem. So, you do understand over time several factors will keep on changing, and this particular system, the community, will take care of those changes, and accordingly, they will improve or have certain changes into their structure and function, and that's the way they will try to survive best. So this ecological succession, as I said, we will be discussing it again in our next class. Ecosystem, now as we have discussed the ecosystem, we have discussed from two different verticals, structural unit and the functional unit. I would like to bring the entire picture in front of us together so that we could understand easily and try to memorize them without any problem, that what ecosystem actually talks about. So it's a, I think one of the most easy way to remember is through these two verticals like structural units and the functional units. We discuss the structural units under the two different aspects: biotic components and the abiotic components, living one and the non-living one. Whereas the functional units is having the trophic level, food chain, food web, ecological pyramid, and as well as we also discuss about the succession. So if we go for the abiotic components, we discuss the climatic factors, we discuss the edaphic factors, you remember the soil factors, and the topographic factors. Like that, under the biotic components, we discuss the producer, we discuss different levels of consumers, starting from the primary to the quaternary. In between, we had the secondary and the tertiary. Then we have discussed the decomposer. So, this is the structural unit. Who are they? Who are part of this ecosystem? The role player. And under the functional unit, we see what role they play. So, it's the trophic level. We have discussed the energy level differences in that. Food chain and food web, we discussed for the predatory food chain, detritus food chain, that is the decomposer, that's a different food chain. Parasitic food chain, like we get the mushroom out of it. So these are different food chain, and food web is more entangled, more complex out of this food chain only. Ecological pyramid is very interesting. It not only talks about numbers of species or communities, it also talks about the biomass, it talks about the energy, which we have already discussed and discussed in details and understood that from any change in the trophic level, every time only 10% energy is going to the next level. And we also understood biomass keeps on getting reduced as they improve their progression in the trophic level. So I believe we have a good discussion on the ecosystem and its basic two structural and functional units. If it is so, now let us see a good example, a comprehensive example in the natural ecosystem, structural and functional unit. Biotic and abiotic, living and non-living, we have discussed starting from the producer, consumer and the decomposer, and the abiotic, the air, water, soil. So biotic community is dynamic. changes constantly, reaches an equilibrium called the climax community. And what is succession? Gradual in biotic community to form a stable community climax. Productivity, rate of biomass production. And here we introduce terms like gross primary production and net primary production. The delta, the difference between these two are there because we have our metabolic activities, respirations, so they represent that delta, the difference, utilized by not only plants but also other species in succession. So, if we talk about that ecological pyramid, we can start with the primary producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and the tertiary consumer. Every time we know that decrease is happening in the biomass, energy, and the weight. So now, if we try to look at the total picture, we can bring back our that original graphics where we talked about the producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, consumer apex predator. This is the highest level, decomposer, and the humus. Let me also inform you one important thing. It's a unidirectional flow of energy. It always happens the flow of energy like this only. So this is important to note. What is happening at the decomposition level? Decomposition level, there will be several processes like fragmentation, leaching, catabolism. Detrivores break down complex detritus into small particles, that is the fragmentation. Leaching, water soluble and it can leach down and it can form the salts. Catabolism, bacterial or the fungal enzymes degrade detritus, that's the catabolism. We come to the humus rich in nutrients where we can see the nutrient cycling, we discussed about it. Gaseous cycle, it can be like carbon cycle or it can be the phosphorus cycle which is sedimented. So that's the way we try to really understand the natural ecosystem at a glance, both from the structural and functional unit. So if we try to summarize today's learning, we can always come back to what we have started with today, that was ecology, how ecology is being defined and its different levels of organization. Do you remember that? I discussed with the community, with the ecosystem and the population. Please go back and look at it. Scope and importance of ecology. Ecology versus ecosystem was very interesting thing to understand. We also try to understand ecosystem, a complex process, through a simpler fashion. That is understanding under two different verticals, structural units and the functional units. And lastly, we have tried to look at this all understanding together through a natural ecosystem example where we have tried to bring our entire class discussion together. And that you can say today we are having that concluding session. These are the references which have been followed, utilized for this particular presentation. You can take note of it. Odom, Moles, Leo, al. Millennium Ecosystem Assessment will be really, really very strong help for us in this class. We have also looked at Muhammad Ahad, a textbook of ecology, Lehman's ecological system. So with these references and all, I would like to say thanks for today's class.